If you follow Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast or watch all of our episodes, you would know that our friends at Hargrove Roofing are proud supporters of Stories Inside the Man Cave. Well, they're also proud supporters of University of Texas Longhorn Athletics. So much so that they are now NIL partners. Bert Auburn has a strong leg. He has a great head of hair, and he will now partner with Coach at the Hargrove Roofing office off of Ashdale. You will soon hear Auburn say that famous slogan, Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof. In the meantime, if you need an estimate, call 512-645-3202 or visit the website, hargroveroofing.com. Stevie Lee, we are in very small boxes. There's a purpose behind this. I don't know how you fit both of our heads in boxes this size, but we have some gentlemen who are part of a really talented group, which was part of a really talented city in the DFW, man. What do you know about Irving, Texas?
It is outside of Dallas. That's about it. No, love Irving, man. I remember playing in the old Texas Stadium, Cowboy Stadium. That was in Irving, right?
Right, it was.
Yeah. So we played the Big 12 championship game there against Colorado that we unfortunately lost. So I know a little bit about Irving.
We're going to talk a lot about Irving. We got two actually Hall of Famers, Hall of Honor inductees from the great city of Irving, Texas, right between Dallas and Fort Worth. And we're going to talk a little bit about the best softball program in the country. You ready, Stevie?
Let's do it.
Let's ride. Man, 366 and counting, and I promise our boxes will get bigger here shortly. But, Stevie, before we get going, I know you see it all over, but they're friends of ours. They're pretty much family of yours. But what is it about Hargrove Roofing that maybe others don't have the convenience of?
Very personable, man. If you call them out to your house, they'll be there right away, one. And two, they're going to shoot it to you straight, man. Those are good guys over there and very honest. If you need a roof, they'll let you know. If you don't need a roof, they'll also let you know.
And what's their famous slogan? Because I don't say it as well as you do.
Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
Hey, and before we get going, be sure to like and follow each of our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, /X, Facebook, YouTube. Did I forget any? I don't think so.
No,
I hope not.
You're good.
I don't. There's so many, man, and I'm Gen X, like everyone else that's going to be in this podcast episode. But man, college football season is 100 days away. All right, it's quiet right now. All right, and we've got portal activity. But here's what I love: we've got the Sweet 16 of college softball, the Super Regionals. We got a special matchup coming, and Mike White and the UT softball program, they're going to be hosting this.
But now we're in the Southeast Conference starting next year. That probably may not happen until it's a regular season game, which is going to be fun. But they're a great team. They've played well this year. They finished third in the SEC, I believe. So it's going to be a good matchup.
Texas and Texas A&M here in Austin. First 2 wins, they advanced to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. Real quick, your thoughts on this? And if people are not aware, Texas is the number 1 overall seed in the country.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun seeing the Aggies and the Longhorns play again on the field in whatever sport it is. But I feel like this softball team is gelling right at the right time, and hopefully, man, we put it on the Aggies.
Hey, You have every right to talk a little smack, but on the other across the Comal, that program's not doing so well because of what just happened in Arlington. All right, Big 12 baseball tourney. Right before we started recording this episode, Texas is done. They're done with the Big 12 tournament. 0-2. Had a really late night the night before last, and they lost a heartbreaker. I want to go ahead and say it. They're going to be in the regionals. They're field of 64, but what's your thoughts now? They don't win a game in the Big 12 tournament. What's your thoughts on this baseball team?
That's tough, man. Do we think that the Big 12 is the best baseball tournament right now, or baseball conference right now?
Third best.
You think third best? So we got to go out there and play. Yeah, man, we got to find some kind of way. Hopefully, us leaving this Big 12 tournament early, get some rest and some practice, and get right back to it for regionals. I don't know, man. Something's got to give. You know, we got to come out and show a little bit better and see what happens. You know,
we'll see. I mean, I've heard rumors, but I'm not a big rumor spreader. I'm not a big believer in it, but I believer in that. But there could be some changes. I don't know. We'll wait and see on that, because I hate to buy into what I just heard today, and I don't want to out anybody on it, but I received a few texts today, but there may be some changes. I don't know what that means. It was very vague. Everyone seems to be in the know. Look at this. Now we're back to 4. This is the reason why our boxes were so small. We got a special episode, and I'm proud to know all these guys. The Irving, Texas football pipeline, bottom left, VJ Boulware and Rodrick Walker on the right, bottom right. You know, they played together, came in about the same, 91 to 95. Is that right?
I came in 1990.
90.
Yeah. Shock the Nation.
Shock the Nation tour, and Jay came in with all of our great friend, the Jason Reeves. You guys kind of turned it around, but I think the story right here is the city of Irving, Texas was once the epicenter of college football recruiting.
This is what I love to talk about with recruits and things like this, man. You know, these guys on the screen, they never played. I never played with them. And but we can all be friends. We're all friends because of the University of Texas and the brotherhood that we've built at the University of Texas. Like, I'm really good friends with Todd. You know, never played with him. Y'all played with him. Really good friends with Norm and all those guys. And I went to church with Reese and things like that. So we are all friends, but didn't play in the same eras. But that's the cool thing about the University of Texas. We all come together and do things together as brothers.
Stevie, what school you from?
I went to Evangel Christian in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay, that was your high school?
That was my high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, first of all, when you talk about, you know, high school football, particularly in Irving, you know, there's a number of players that have come from, you know, that neighborhood. Huff was from there, De La Torre, you know, Norm, you know, Huff, me, and Rod are all from the same high school. You know, that's the interesting thing. You know what I'm saying? So we had a nice pipeline of players that went to the University of Texas. I followed Rod coming in. I was an offensive lineman that blocked in front of him. You know, we had a team my sophomore year, Rod's junior year, that's in Friday Night Lights. You know, not on the right end of it. I mean, it was so quick. It was a little blurb. You know what I mean? They beat the dog out of us in Odessa. Yeah, but they did.
They beat the dog out of us.
But, you know, when you talk about high school football in Irving, man, we grew up. I mean, it was a town that had 3 high schools, man, MacArthur, Irving, and Nimitz. You know, I got inducted with a guy, you know, Bosworth is from, you know, an old school players from MacArthur, you know what I mean? And that's where Las Colinas, that's where the Cowboys facility originally was. And like you said earlier, that's where Texas Stadium was. Yeah. And that was the whole talk the whole time you're growing up, you know, in that area. You know what I mean? We want to get to Texas Stadium, you know, play in that stadium that's right in our town, right in our city, you know, and, you know, just welcome everybody in there because we felt like we had an advantage, you know, coming in there because that's where we're from. So to me, that's what high school football in that area was all about. You know, it was Friday Night Lights, man. It was you know, everything that, you know, that you can think of. Football, the pep rallies on Friday, closing school down, you know, the football team is on the floor and everybody's cheering them on, and you know what I mean? And it's a different deal, man. And so that's Texas high school football. Rob, what do you say?
I agree 100%, man. The depth is deep coming from Irving. There's a lot of guys that didn't go to Texas, like Kerry Cooks, who went to high school at Nimitz with us. He's went to Iowa and now is the DB coach at LSU. And so it stretches far beyond the people that are on this screen as far as the talent that came out of Irving. And just even in that district, man, the district was tough, man. If we would have beat Odessa, we would have had to play Carter High School and play against the Jesse Armsteads of the world, and so the Robert Halls of the world. So there was a lot of power coming from the city of Irving, and it was a steady stream for a long time. And I remember at Jay's Hall of Fame induction, where Brian Bosworth got up and spoke, and he said, "We got to turn the city back around to what it used to be." And you know, we grow up, guys. We move out of neighborhoods, right? We grow up, we move away from where we grew up, and now we're in other suburbs and raising our kids and going to different schools than what we went to. So that pipeline kind of diminishes a little bit. But for those that are there, I think it's all about developing talent, of course, and getting that going again, so we can get the stud bunch back together. As a matter of fact, we had T-shirts that if you lifted a certain amount of weight, you had stud bunch on your T-shirt at our high school. And then the top one that everybody was trying to get was the black T-shirt that had GATA on it, which stands for, it says Gotta. And our head coach was one of those Odessa men, and it stands for get after their ass. And everybody wanted the Gotta shirt. So yeah, man, there was a lot going on, man, in that era, man, in Irving schools stadiums.
So I want to run through these photos here. I was going to tell you, so that you mentioned Jay, you mentioned Alex De La Torre. He was at Stephen F. Austin when I was there. Great defensive tackle. And so his son, Alex, played fullback for Texas, and they have their youngest son, Colt, I believe. He's now a lineman at Stephen F. Austin. There's Jay. Hasn't aged one day since the first day I met him. There's Rod playing running back at Texas. And I have to say this. He could have been one of the best running backs to wear that Longhorn uniform. But like so many people, it's a brutal sport. Injuries happen. And then there's our guy, Norm. I just got to give a shout out to Norm. He's in Denver, Colorado right now, trying to get on a plane back to Austin. He and De La Torre couldn't make it tonight, but there's the first one is Norm modeling. He was trying to be the bachelor in Austin. I had to show that. But, you know, everybody loves Norm, but a great
Pretty boy
linebacker.
Norm, man. I love it.
Well, the number one. But the base of the story is Irving, Texas. You know, right between the two big cities. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many years straight. We're going to say at least a couple of decades of Division I talent. Am I fairly accurate about? I mean, every year you heard about somebody coming out of Irving. Multiple.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, I mean, it's just like any other town. You know, it's football, right? I mean, there's Division I athletes in these towns all across Texas. Now, you know, how successful they are and this, that, and the other, it varies just like everywhere else, you know. And, you know, it's like one thing, Stevie, that I do agree with you said. I mean, all of us that went to school at UT, man, we share a brotherhood, you know. You know, you mentioned a bunch of names of guys that I know. Norm and I came to UT together. You know what I mean? We were roommates the first year. You know, we actually started playing basketball against each other in junior high. We were rivals in the city of Irving, you know, and, you know, that's just how it is, man. Just brothers through the years. And, you know, I've watched you guys since I've left there. You guys didn't know who I was, but I was watching you guys from afar. And you know, it was an honor for me to get back there for a year, just for a year, you know, just to be back on the 40 acres. You know, I've been all over the country coaching football, you know, and it meant something for me to do that. And that was part of my journey. But as I continue on my journey, man, I still leave that brotherhood behind, and I still associate with brothers like Rod, Norm, Thomas Baskin, you know, Jay Reeves when he was alive. That was my dude too. You know, and several others. You know, there's countless names, right? You know, I was still there when Ricky was there. You know, Priest was my dude. You know what I mean? And it's just that it's a long line, and it kind of ties all together because to me, and I say this, and Norm will tell you this too, I felt like they had that year that Rod's talking about, Shock the Nation tour, and that was kind of like the first year in a while that Texas had kind of come back, you know what I mean? And like to being dominant, they dominated that whole Southwest Conference that year. And when we got there, man, it took us some years to really like establish that dominance, man. We had to recruit some guys, and that's when we brought in, you know, and Norm was a big part of the recruiting process of. We brought in guys like Priest Holmes, you brought in guys like Casey Hampton, you brought in guys like, you know, Ricky Williams, right? I mean, there was just a number, James Brown, I mean, a number of guys, Mike Adams, I mean, all these guys that came, Aaron Humphrey, that came on this football team and started dominating, you know, from the time the Makovic era ended, which is, in my opinion, that's who recruited a lot of those guys, to the time Mac Brown started his dominance from the moment he stepped on campus with an all-conference running back in Ricky Williams, you know what I mean? And just a countless numbers of great players that just jumped the whole thing off for years and years and years. And I just feel like, you know, everybody had a hand in that, you know, I really do. You know what I'm saying, Rod? I mean, I don't know how you feel, but.
No, I feel exactly the same way, man. You named some great names, and the Stoney Clarks and the Tony Brackens, you know, that
Brian
we
Westbrook
played with.
Thomas.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? We can go on and on. Lavelle Pinkney, you know, I mean, we can go on and on and on. Casey Hampton played the league for what, 13, 14 years? You know what I mean? You know, I mean, Tony Bracken's played in the league forever, right? You know what I mean? Westbrook was a third pick at DB at corner,
right?
You know, and then you had all those other guys that came on after him, like Jammer, and you know, you just go right down the list, man. I mean, it's just it was like a steady flow of those players coming through Texas for a long time.
When I came in as a defensive tackle, man, looking back, and I did look up to Casey Hampton and Sean Rogers.
That's another one he brought in.
And guys like that. But then you look across the line, and that O-line was stellar, man.
Yes.
With Mike Williams,
Brockermeyer,
and Leonard Davis. That's kind of my era. When I was coming in, they were moving out. So I remember it was big offensive linemen back then. You know.
I was there when Big Wortham came in. That's what I used to call it. I was there. That's how close we were to touching each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I was there when Casey Hampton came in. You know, I remember being the GA that year and checking the dorm, and Casey Hampton was everybody else was in the dorm room playing video games. Casey Hampton was in his dorm room with his shirt off doing sit-ups. Like, what you doing? You can imagine what that looked like to me. You know what
I mean? You know, the cool thing about it is, first off, that we're all here to talk about this. That's number one. We got to wake up today and talk about this. And then, you know, I love hearing everyone's stories and how long we've all been friends, but also at the same time, where is everybody now? And Stevie, you and I talk about this, what we once were, and the people we know, what they become. Like Jay, and we'll talk about it in the second segment some more. He followed a dream to be a college football coach. He's done a hell of a career. He's coached at his alma mater as a GA. I mean, there's several stops along the way at Oklahoma. Great story there. And I'm just speeding through it. And now in the SEC, he's been in the SEC before at Auburn, but now at Kentucky with another Stoops. And then you've got Rod. He is, and correct me on the title, Rod, but you're leading the way for the NFL alumni chapter in San Antonio and Austin. And you're helping, I don't want to use the term older people, but adults have a healthy life, man. You're still, all you do is give back to people. And you're a dad too, as well as Jeff.
Yeah. And it's a great feeling, man, to be able to do that. I'm the director of player relations for the NFL Alumni Association for, I call it South Texas now, Central to South Texas, and former NFL Players Association president for the Austin San Antonio chapter. And what I do, it's all encompassing. I help former players with their benefits and help them, the younger guys that come out who want to know how to be, get back into the community, if they want to go back to school, to college, get their degree, if they want to start a foundation, if they want to, get healthy, whatever it is that they need, I'm kind of the guy that helps them find that that direction of where they should go. As far as with the NFL Alumni Association, man, we help. It's a foundation, it's a nonprofit, so it's called Caring for Kids, Caring for Our Community, and Caring for Our Own. So 3 major things right there that I just love doing, and of course helping people live longer lives with their health. So being able to help people with their weight loss and muscle tone, being able to help the youth get faster and get stronger in any sport, it's always a blessing to me. And then on top of that, man, I got my own tequila coming out in a couple of months. So I got my hands dirty, but they're clean, but they're dirty.
That's good stuff, man.
What's the name of the tequila? Can you mention that?
Absolutely. It's called Dos Cuernos.
You sounded like a native when you said that.
Dos Cuernos. And it stands for 2 horns.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question, man. When I was in high school, I was at Evangel Christian, and we went 60-0. I never lost a high school football game. Yeah,
they recruited.
No, we didn't.
Hey, Stevie Lee, did y'all get some guys from Ringo to come up there and play?
From Ringo?
Ringo, Louisiana. You ain't never heard of that?
Oh, no, man. We did not recruit guys. This I'm telling y'all.
Is Jaluk from there? Is Jabbar Jaluk from that school?
Jabbar Jaluk, no.
Okay.
No.
Is that where did D. Lou go there?
No. D. Lou, I think
down south,
Baton Rouge. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Baton Rouge, I believe.
He's from Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I believe so.
I thought he was correct. That's accurate.
Yeah, and Major Applewhite and Greg Brown, they're all from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew Major was. Yeah, I knew he was.
Right. So the people that came in from Evangel are Cole Pittman.
Okay.
Who passed in that car accident.
Yes, sir.
Then, his little brother
came
after me, and then Philip Geiger came.
Okay.
DB. From Evangel.
Okay.
Oh, and then we had a kicker also. I can't remember his name. So
come on, man.
The kicker,
talking to a special teams coordinator. You can't remember the kicker.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was always mad at the kickers. They didn't do nothing in practice, bro. But what I was getting at is, so people always ask, how did y'all go 60-0? It really was our work ethic. I want to know how you guys had a pipeline coming from Irving all to come down to Texas, and what did y'all contribute to the success for those guys going to D1 schools?
You talking about from the high school level?
From high school, yeah. From y'all's high school area.
Man, I really think, for us, that was kind of the fabric of what we were made of. You know what I mean? was hard work. Our head coach, being from West Texas, like Rod mentioned, I mean, they were some ball coaches. The core of our coaching staff were ball coaches that were from Odessa, that grew up in that type of environment, that, they lived that life and they loved on us. And man, they pushed us through. I mean, when we got to Texas, it was easier.
Yeah.
It was, you know what I'm saying? It was like, man, what y'all doing? You know what I mean? We killing it. You know what I mean? Every day, mat drills, running, those curves, man. You know what I mean? Everybody, big dudes, small dudes, it didn't matter. Pulling tires, plyometrics, weights. It was intense. It was an intense off season, man, from the time we started to the time we ended. And then it was a physical brand of football that we played, downhill, run the ball, stop the run type stuff, and so that type of mentality, I think, lended itself to success at the next level. Rod was one of those highly recruited, you know what I mean? He could have went anywhere. Rod was probably one of the top running backs in the state the year that he came out, and he didn't even play his senior year, I had to go there and fight my tail off. Wasn't highly recruited, but by the time I finished my freshman year, I was playing right next to Brockemeyer. They pulled Brockemeyer out in a game and put me in there, which I don't know why they did that. Because that boy from Bailey can continue to whoop my butt just like he did Brock's. Shoot. Both of them boys played the league for a long time, and they was ready for our red shirt freshman behind. So but that's what we had, man, and that's what we did. And I just think, for just speaking from our school, I can't speak for MacArthur and Irving High, right? I can speak for Nimitz. And I just felt like that's the type of mentality that we had in our program.
The thing that I like to add to that is, like what Jay said, hard work, man. That's what it was. And they pushed us. But they loved on us. Now, we didn't want to. We had a rope around our waist and a tire at the end of that rope, and we had to run 200 yards around a dirt track with that, and like relays. It was relays. We had to run 200 yards, hand that rope and tire off to somebody else so they can run 200 yards. And because we're competing against the people that are on our team, that pushed us, because we didn't want to lose, and we want our team to lose. And so that was the hard work that we did, bunny hopping from one sideline to the other sideline. You know what I'm saying? That was the crazy, crazy workouts that we did. We had a thing called PTA, stands for pain, torture, agony, where we lift weights, and it's not heavy weights. It's the lightest weight possible, but you got to lift it 1,000,000 times in like 60 seconds and then rotate to the next one. I remember I was hurt one day. They did this PTA, and I walked in the weight room, and there was trash cans everywhere. And I'm like, what kind of workout is this? But by the time they got started and halfway through it, I saw why the trash cans were there, because everyone was throwing up.
Yeah,
I saw Fruit
you
Loops
conveniently missed some of those,
flakes,
Rod, just so you know. It was duly noted that you conveniently missed them. Since we telling old stories, let's talk about that stuff. You know what I mean? I just happened to walk in there and I was hurt that day.
Hey, Stevie Lee, look.
Like it wasn't on the calendar.
Stevie Lee, one time, I messed up my knee, and the doctors told me, don't run sprints anymore at the end of practice. You ride stationary bike when it's time for them to run sprints.
Yes.
Man, every time it was time for them to run sprints back across that field, I went and sat on the bicycle. And they used to be mad at me, man.
Well, let me ask you this. Did the doctor tell you that directly, or did he tell your coach that?
He told the coach that as well.
Oh, he told. Okay, I was gonna say, Jay, y'all should have fact checked him, man.
Hey, let me tell you, dog. Check him, man. I'm just telling you, Rod was missing a bunch of stuff, man. You know how they treat them running backs, man.
Yeah, man.
It's like gold.
Rod, you also. I'm sorry, Clinch, but Rod, you wore number 3, right?
And my senior year at Texas, I went through a gamut of numbers. In high school, I was 21 the whole time. and we went to the playoffs my junior year and went 3 rounds deep, and played in the Texas Stadium in those playoffs, knocking off the Arlington Colts, knocking off Trimble Tech, all these schools that were top in their area as well. And then only to go to West Texas and play against Odessa and lose that game. But yeah, I wore number 21 then, and when I got to Texas, 21 was already taken. So I just sat and waited. I wore 24 all the way up to my senior year, and then switched to number 3.
Gotcha. I was going to say, man, something about the running backs at Texas in number 3, man. And
I agree with Sean Mitchell after me.
Oh,
Sean and Hodges
Mitchell. Yep.
Yes, he
Dallas,
did.
Dallas Skyline, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then who else was it? I did Chris Obanaya.
Obanaya.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, played for the Rams for a few years, man. So
mm-hmm.
that number 3 in running backs at the University of Texas kind of special, man. Yeah,
special, baby.
Yeah.
So we mentioned, just before we move forward, I know it was briefly mentioned, but you've got 2 Irving ISD members of the Hall of Honor, the Jay Boulware, and then Rodrick Walker, and Norman Watkins was inducted. They've got to get De La Torre in there, amongst others, at some point. But Jay, you briefly mentioned it. Brian Bosworth, who was brilliant beyond his years at marketing his own brand while he was at Oklahoma. For MacArthur, well, he was committed to Texas A&M. Well, I want to show y'all something about your Irving brother. In an interview a few years ago, this was funny. Right in front of Coach Switzer, he was talking about when Switzer came to MacArthur. Most coaches, when they visit high schools, they wait in the office or the coach's office. No, Switzer found his way to the cafeteria.
Heard the story at the
This is
heard
hilarious.
this great story at the Hall of Fame.
Hilarious.
Go ahead. Want to ruin it? Go ahead.
Let's go, baby.
And I'm sitting in my high school cafeteria, and there's 3,000 kids in my school, so there's 1,000 of us, in the cafeteria, and I'm looking across, and I see this.
Go ahead, Sean.
This cat walk in a full-length mink coat, and I go, it can't be, because all the other coaches would come and they'd pull me out of class and take me in. Here he comes and he calls me out. Hey, where's Boss? Where's Boss? And I go, oh, no. And he's got the rings on. I know you want one of these. I know you want one of these. You don't get it at A&M.
You heard him. He said you're not going to get a ring at A&M.
Yeah.
Hey, Bosworth also added to that. Maybe he was getting back at me and Rod, but he also added that you can go to Texas and win conference championships, or you can come to Oklahoma and win national championships.
Wow.
Verbatim from Bosworth about Texas.
The funny story, last week, I was with his nephew, Kyle Bosworth, who played with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he said that Brian was a piece of work, man. He's a crazy dude, man. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Yeah.
Fellas, how we do this, how we end every first segment, especially with fine Americans like yourself, there's been some I want to say, Stevie, there's been some legendary stories told. Some probably may not have been revealed on other platforms, but we're grateful they have. We'll start with you, Rod. Is there a man cave story from your Irving Nimitz days or with your Irving, Texas boys while you were at Texas that you would love to share with us?
Man, I can do a couple of really quick ones. Even though Norman went to Irving High, and he had a group of friends over there, a lot of great guys that we're still friends with. And then the Nimitz guys, myself, our quarterback, Stephon Johnson, Jay, and a few others, even though we were rivals and we would get ready to play each other on Friday night, but on Thursday night, we all hang together at the barbershop because we all got our haircut at the same barbershop. So the lady who owned the barbershop while we're all in there would say, who gonna win tomorrow night? And that started the biggest debate in the world because we all thought we was going to win that game. But we would talk so much trash, so much noise. And then on the day of the game, or once we're at the game, we're talking all that noise. As soon as the game is over, the statements are, "Hey man, what we gonna do tonight, man? We're gonna get together." I mean, it's like we're the best of friends right after that game. Every time. And so that obviously led to some bonding, man. It's led to some bonding. The other story is me and Norman, we've been competing against each other for a long time, man. And then track season came, and I ran a 10-300, and Norman was fast as hell for his size, and I think he was close to a 10-3 as well. And one thing that my coach did, man, he made me run the mile relay.
Oh,
And that was something that, I was a 100, 200 sprint relay guy. And this dude made me run the mile relay, and Norman ran the mile relay. So on this particular third leg day, Norman gets the baton, I get the baton. It's like almost neck and neck. And I just take off, man. I'm gone. And my whole thing is just get it over with, run as fast as I can till I get tired and can't run no more. Mm-hmm. And I take off, man, and I probably got Norman by like 10 yards, coming around the last curve. And we got on these spikes, and it's a little concrete on the edge of the track on the inside. And we're going, and I hear the crumbling of spikes and concrete. So I said, oh my, Norman must have fell to the inside. So as I look to the inside, I'm in lane 1. As I look to the inside, I don't see that he had fell. But as I turn my head back forward, Norman's ass is passing me up. And he's saying, come on, Rod. Come on, Rod. Come on, Rod. But I knew that there was no more Rod left in me. He got the best of me on that day, man. That was our competition, though, man. And we'll go hang out and have a good hamburger right after that.
That's good.
How about you, JB?
Well, man cave stuff for me always falls back into my line of work. And if I had, to leave you with anything from a man cave point of view, I would leave you to my year I spent with Mike Tomlin at Pittsburgh. He said something to me that is just really touched me in a special way in terms of how I go about, treating my players to this day, which is, and not just my players, just really everybody. He said that Tony Dungy told him as a staff that, every day he would try to, make the people in the building's day better. He would try to do something to improve everybody's mood, everybody, to give life to them, to speak life into them, to make them feel good. You know what I mean? And he literally told us, man, I sit out in my car for 20 minutes before I walk in this building and think about what I can do for the people in this building. And I was the recipient of that one time, and he left me a note on my desk, man. And I just remember how I felt. You know what I mean? Mike Tomlin left me this note, man, since you've been here, I really appreciate everything you've done. You've been a rock star. Thank you for the relationships you've established in the building, that type of language, man. And it just really picked me up. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like now going forward, and just, that positive vibe, man, giving that off to the players and letting them feel that and the confidence. And I just think it's something to that, man. And that's why that band is, great. You know what I mean? And the other part, the two things I was, that was one. The second thing is, man, I was able to do something like that from a situation where people might look at, man, that's a negative, right? So I go to Texas, and I'm not kidding, man. Lincoln Riley's telling me, don't go to Texas, Jay. You're going to get fired in a year. Well, they gave me a 3-year deal, and I went to Texas, and yeah, we did get fired in a year, but because I had that 3-year deal, I was able to have the biggest experience in my life, my professional life. That's a positive, count it all joy. James 1 and 2. That's my life now. You know what I mean? And those two things, I gathered that from what some could look at as a negative. It's a blessing in your life. You don't realize what things are. So that's my man cave juice that I'm going to give. And I just feel like those two things are just who I'm going to be going forward from now on.
Man,
that's good stuff.
Man, from both of you, man. And by the way, Jay, I know how frequent it is, but he has his own podcast too.
Not frequent at all.
No, you don't have time. You don't have much time.
Yeah, so I'm just plugging away, man, doing what I do.
We all need lessons from Van Malone. I don't know how he finds time, and he interviews some of the most influential people in the business.
He does.
Good job. But
he's doing a great job of that, man. He's keeping up with it. I mean, but he's got a staff of people that are helping him with that, I'm solo dolo. You know what I mean?
I can relate, man.
Yeah. Solo dolo's different.
Man, that was fun. This first segment. We're going to take a break, and I'm going to try to break a record. I'm going to go use the men's room during this break. I'm going to see if I can get it done in 55 seconds because we're going to take this quick break and give a shout out to Hargrove Roofing. On the other side, we're going to find out a little bit about the SEC that Jay knows a lot about now, and we're going to find out who the real UT is.
All right.
That's on the other side of this break.
Here at Hargrove Roofing, we try to think outside the box to kind of get the creative juices flowing. So I brought in my friend Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns. He's going to help the team strategize, really motivate them, light a fire.
This guy's going to block down. This guy's going to block down. You put your butt into the guard, and that way my Mike linebacker gets free to do what?
Not only are they going to learn a thing or two, but they're going to also leave with a great attitude and a bunch of smiles on their faces.
I'm sorry, what does this have to do with roofing exactly?
Get out.
Right now.
I said get out.
For me, that's what it's all about. It's just having fun, making our employees have a great time. Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
Graduated too. I don't know if y'all said that, but I graduated.
Yeah.
The real UT. Real UT. Education.
Well, it's a great school.
Great.
It's a great school.
Better school. Yes. Better school.
No, don't do that. Do you know where you are now?
I know where I'm at. I
This is
still
Tennessee?
bleed orange. Burnt.
Is that real orange?
Orange.
You think that's real orange?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I was before. Yeah, but
Glad you're coming to a real conference now.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna run it. Longhorn, hook 'em.
Hey, Tavondre, the biggest character, maybe the best rookie with a sense of humor. Tennessee Titan, by the way, I got that done to the men's room and back in 29 seconds.
There you go. Good job,
I'm impressed, Megan. That's good flow, good stream.
There you go, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep drinking what you're drinking.
Hey, man. Yeah, that's right. That's right. First off,
when we get off tonight, just go back and wash your hands.
There's no doubt.
Oh no, I use
There's no doubt because it didn't get done. You are not COVID safe right now.
It's a walking bacteria in this office. Hey, JB, first off, Tavondre, you're in SEC country. This is your, I think, second stint as a coach in SEC. I mean, obviously he's doing that out of humor, and he's in Nashville. But that guy is a good representative of the brand.
It's not out of humor. It's factual.
Fact.
And it just is what it is. And I got to be careful. I still have my allegiance. We come into Daryl K this year. You know what I mean? So I got a little bit different vibe going on in that regard, but it's still factual. He bleeds orange. Burnt orange.
Burnt.
Not that other stuff that has the Oklahoma Sooner quarterback, their head coach. So you can say what you want to say, but we all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
Rod, your take on Tavondre. I mean, the real UT. I mean, this is going to be great. SEC, you've got both the UTs, a large conference. I mean, this debate's never going to end.
Let me ask you a question. Does Tennessee have what's their sign? Do they have a sign? We have the Hook'em Horns. Do they have anything?
I think is it a volunteer? Is it that?
What is it?
For Vol, yeah. They're Tennessee
The
Volunteers.
V or the T? You can't do that. They be calling timeout. They do it like that. But it's simple. It's very simple, man. Who do you hear about the most? I don't hear about Tennessee like I hear about Texas, wherever I go. And even if I am somewhere and I say Texas or I played at Texas, I mean, the people light up, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a wonderful state and people understand that it's the grimy state. You know what I'm saying? People come here and they work hard. We went to Alabama this year, and Alabama's airport had to move some planes around for us because the private jets that were coming in were bigger than those that they've ever seen before. So they had to make space for these jets. So whether we go into Tennessee or they coming here, we're gonna have enough to show them who the real UT is.
No question. Coach, we're coming to the SEC. I know you have your alliances and things like that. How do you see the University of Texas competing in the SEC?
That's an interesting question because the landscape is changing right now, as you guys well know, in college football. The transfer portal era has changed everything, and I don't think teams have truly settled into who they are and are not, and how consistent is it going to be. I mean, any consistency is consistency right now in that era that's just been going on for a few years, and so, I mean, I think Texas has a really good team. I think Sark has done a really good job recruiting there. But it's like Rod mentioned. Here's the thing that people in the Big 12 or people at Texas and Oklahoma don't realize. Just like Rod doesn't really know, and nothing against anybody, but I mean that Tennessee team was 10-2 last year. They beat the Alabama team that beat Texas the year before at Alabama. You know what I mean? They've done a good job. There's some really good football teams in this league, and they jockey back and forth. You know what I mean? Because there's a number of storied programs. There's not just a couple, if you understand what I'm saying in terms of, football. Tennessee's had a rich tradition of football, in an era at, back in the day, just like Florida has, just like Georgia has, just like, you know what I mean? Just like Alabama has, just like LSU. I mean, the list just kind of keeps running. You guys know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And so it's not like you're looking out for, man, I'm looking down the road because we got to play OU, or if you're at OU, you're looking down the road because you got to play Texas, right? Yeah. When you step on the field, they're going to look like you, and they're going to have guys that can run like you. You know what I mean? And they're not going to be void of talent where you can just bully them at any point in time. And if you don't bring your lunch pail that day, you're going to get your butts kicked. And that's really, in essence, what you got to do in this league week in and week out. Right. You have to, and I'm not saying that the Big 12 is not tough. What I am saying is, Rod talks about jets flying into these little airports, man, in this league, they ain't bringing jets. They bringing RVs and they pulling in on Thursday night. It ain't Friday. It ain't Saturday, the day of the game. They pulling in on Thursday. When you come to school on Friday, it's full of people, that are there for the game. You know what I mean? It's like you walk around, it's like, what the heck is going on? They didn't close down the parking lot for campus. For the students, you got to find another way to get in. You know what I mean? So it's just different, man. We don't, and I say we because I didn't until I went into that league and went and ran the gambit one year in that league and won it all. We don't understand the intensity, of the fans that are there, and how much they really support their teams, and when you know what I mean, from the start to the finish. It ain't like a fashion, hey, it's what they do. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. It's all they care about. They don't have anything else. all these towns are 30,000, 40,000 people. They got these small airports. You know what I mean? It's not a big town. You know, Austin is the largest town in the SEC now. And it was Vanderbilt, in Nashville. I mean, it's between those two, right? And then after that, it was us in Kentucky, and we have 300K. You know, that's the next biggest, you know, and then everything else goes down from there. Auburn was like 20, 30K. Tuscaloosa is like 60, 70K. Athens, Georgia is like 60, 70K. You know what I mean? And you get around these small college towns that really and truly, Rod, feel like old school, high school, Texas high school football, where you pull into one of these towns, man, and you done ran into a beehive. You know, it's gonna be packed and it's gonna be loud, man. It's gonna be louder than all those stadiums that you run into in the Big 12, in the Pac-12. You know, you're gonna run into some in the Big 10, but you know, you're not gonna run into very many in the ACC. There's some, but they're week in and week out in this league, man, and it's crazy. I'm just telling you, it's educated fans. They understand the game. They know when to cheer every single moment, you know, of big plays. You know what I mean? It's just they're into the game, and so that's going to be a little bit different. It's like playing at A&M every week.
I remember when I was being recruited, going to those SEC games. They do go in and on Thursday, and those big $2 million coaches.
Yes,
face coach, those buses, man. Those are really, really nice. You're exactly right.
Yes.
The other thing, man. You know, I go to church here in North Austin, and my pastor was a quarterback at OU, and so he and I have been Eric Moore. He and I have been debating on who has the harder schedule going into the Big 12. I'm sorry, going into the SEC.
Yeah.
So my argument is they put us in. With a bunch of our rivals, right? So we got 3 rivalry games on our schedule next year. They have Tennessee, like you mentioned, and they have Alabama. I don't think Alabama's going to be Alabama. Nick Saban's gone, and and they lost some players and lost a couple players to us. So South Carolina, Auburn, I don't know. I think the hardest schedule is the University of Texas, because we got the OU game, which is a rivalry game. We got Arkansas, which is a rivalry game. A lot of people not talking about that as much.
I don't think anybody hates Texas more than the folks in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Seriously.
No question.
And that was the worst game I've ever been to in my life.
Man.
Experience as a fan in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah, and then we got A&M for the last game for Thanksgiving, you know?
But it's like that every week. That Fayetteville, Arkansas stadium, that's what you're going to get every week. Every one of these stadiums that you go into is going to be a hostile environment.
Yeah,
every one of them. You know what I mean? Except for Vanderbilt. I'm just being honest.
And they're still in a temporary situation, right? In Vanderbilt,
they were last year when we went there, and it was awful. But I'm just saying. You know, it's not going to be. I don't care if they didn't changed it. It ain't going to be hostile there. You know, that's just not what they're about. You know, not to say that they're not going to fight you. You know, they do a great job too. You know, and they're going to fight you. They got some good looking players. We took their running back last year, and he ended up going to the league. So I'm just saying they got some dudes. I don't. You know, who has the harder schedule? You're right, Stevie. I mean. Is Alabama going to be the same? No, but I mean, who knows what they're going to be like? I mean, it's not like they're void of talent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're still going to be a good-looking football team.
Come out and bring that wood. I mean, regardless
of
who's
what I'm
coaching
saying.
them.
I mean, they still got players and they got a good coach. I mean, I don't know what they're going to look like. I don't think anybody does. So I don't know if you can say one way or the other. You know, in terms of that game, I do think this. You know, Oklahoma having. You know, Ole Miss is sneaky good. You know what I mean? Missouri was really good last year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were the up and coming, just like Tennessee was the year before. So, you know, that's a tough schedule for them. I mean, at Auburn, I coached there at Auburn. I won a national championship. I'm just going to tell you, man. You know, Stevie, again, you're from Louisiana, right? You know, man, there is nothing like it when that Eagle flies around in that stadium before that game and they're screaming, "Whoa!" and it's like it's real A&M like, and then they scream Eagle. I mean, it is 90-something thousand packed screaming at the same time. You know what I mean? That is a tough game for them. I'm just going to tell you, that's not an easy place to play.
I'm really looking forward to playing in the SEC, man. You have that, the War Eagle at Auburn, but I also love, I got a little purple and gold in me because I'm from Louisiana. I love Mike Tiger down there. I went to a Georgia game. I actually in high school been recruited by Georgia and Jim Donnan.
Between the hedges.
Between the hedges, man. Right before they kick off. And they say sick 'em as the boys
they be barking in there, man. You didn't think you went into, And then you went into a Q-Dog party or something,
The whole entire stadium. Dude, it's gonna be a lot of fun in the SEC, man.
Hey, it is. It is fun.
Hey, what I do know and what I do understand that I don't care who it is, Texas is going to feel it. They're going to get welcomed every week by the next team because, of course, we're Texas, right? They're going to get they're going to have to be ready. They'll have to be prepared. They're going to get woke up by some of these teams. I know that for a fact. I watched these teams. They're grimy, and they're used to it. They're used to the SEC, right? We got to come in there and fill it out and find our footprint or make our footprint.
Stark's done a great job. He's going to have those guys ready to go. You know what I mean? And it's a fight, guys. I'm just telling y'all right now, it will be a fight every single week. And you're going to have to bring it every single week. And that's just the way it is because you're right. None of these teams are intimidated. You got to realize most of these teams have been playing Alabama and Georgia, who've won the majority of the national championships in the last 10, 12, 15 years, whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, they're playing these guys every year. And we all know what they have, right? You've seen those teams, man. They've been that way for a decade. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just it is what it is, And before that, they were beating the Florida team. They were playing the Florida teams that were winning, and it's just a lot of teams that have come out of this league and won, national titles, and so it's not a hey, this team is a storied program. We're intimidated by It's like bring it on. We welcome this team coming in here. We want to shut y'all up. You know what I mean? We believe that we can we got the ability to shut y'all up. The majority of the defensive players that go into the NFL draft year in and year out come out of the SEC.
100% they do. This is the time of year where everybody from people like us to all media outlets, they just come up with random polls. This is one of them, the SEC post-spring football power rankings. I feel like Oklahoma will have it a little easier than Texas because, Jay, you and I have both been there. You've been on the inside. I was knocking on the door. I couldn't get inside. But what I mean by that is there's going to be so much more hatred towards Texas wherever they go. And everybody's going to be up. Not saying that they're not going to be up to play Oklahoma. There's just something about Texas that everybody hates. And Jay, I'll start with you, Rod, and then back to Jay. And I'd love to hear Stevie tell me this. And it's going to be hard. You can plead the fifth on this, Jay, but I kind of feel like Oklahoma's at a crossroad here because they're trying to rebuild their roster with SEC-style linemen. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like OU has entered a portion of their program of mediocrity as they go into the SEC. Is that fair?
I wouldn't count OU out because they're going to still have some talent over there, and majority of that talent comes from this state. And they're smart and they're hungry and they're going to be just like us. They feel like they have something to prove when they go into this SEC. Yep, I feel like we had to help them financially to get their ass over there, but but I think they're going to be ready, man. And I don't know, man. It's going to be hard for me. It's hard for me to picture them. Yeah, they're rebuilding, but knowing that we're going into the SEC or that they're going into the SEC, I'm pretty sure they're going to be more prepared than what we're giving them credit for right now. right now?
I don't know what Oklahoma has in their locker room.
Right.
I know this, they had an offensive lineman that was drafted pretty high this past year.
From here.
Yeah, from there, exactly right. So I mean,
Guyton.
and you know, they had a big time D lineman, you know, that they had. And all I know is this, man. Those places, they're going to have some guys, just like Rod said. I mean, I don't know what anybody really and truly has, including Texas. I knew what Texas had when they had those two big DTs that were there when I was there back in 2020. You know what I mean? I mean, those boys, Tavondre Sweat and Byron, I mean, they've been there for a minute, right? And so I can speak on that. You know, I can speak on Jalen Ford. I can speak on all those guys, man, that were playing in that secondary because they were all there when I was there. But I can't speak on who they have now. This is 4 years later, right? This is a different football team now. You know, I don't know who they recruited behind those guys that are going to be good enough. I mean, if Alfred Collins is still there, okay, I know what he looks like, right? You know, but after that, who else? You know, and so it's going to be a different Texas team than what we've seen before because last year, let me just tell y'all what, and Stevie, you know this. I mean, man, it was stout up in that middle, dog. You know what I mean? I mean, that they look like an SEC defense. You know what I mean? Like an all, you know, those are the defenses that win national championships in the SEC when you're stout inside, right? And they were stout inside, man. And so, what are they going to look like next year? So I mean, I can't speak on either one of those two teams. I haven't watched either one of them on tape. We don't play OU. We play Texas late. You know, I'm just now getting to, you know, my second game of the season, you know, South Carolina and Georgia. You know, we play those guys before we play Texas. That's about as far down the road as I can think. You know, hey, I got bigger fish to fry right now than worry about Texas, I guess is what I'm saying. Texas in November. I mean, that's how it is, you know, whereas when you're in the Big 12, right, if you're at a Baylor, you're at a TCU, you're probably thinking about Texas all year, right? You know what I mean? Your game for them. That ain't happening in our league right now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta play Georgia before I play Texas. I gotta play, you know, South Carolina. I gotta play Tennessee. I got, you know, all these teams, man, and you know, Missouri. They're games that you have to win, you know, in this league. You know, so anyway.
I don't think that OU will go into mediocrity. I think Rod, you're exactly right. They're getting their players from Texas. Right? And these kids coming out of high school football in Texas, it's hard for me to admit this, but they're a different breed, right? So
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm a Louisiana boy through and through, y'all. So, but no, it's a different breed. So they are getting the players from Texas, and the people that are in power at OU, if they ain't gonna do it right, they're gonna go find some coaching staff that's gonna do it right. You know,
that's the truth.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're gonna. They may, if they have a down year or two, they're gonna be just fine. And we got to remember, y'all, they beat us last year, so
they did.
They're not. I don't think that we should sleep on them. We shouldn't think that they're going into mediocrity. They beat us, right? We went to the playoffs, right? So
that's right.
That's another thing. Why I say about these rivalry games, it's a toss up, bro. These rivalry games are for real, and this one is in a neutral site, so they can sneak up on us.
I'll say this, and JB knows this. I have faith in Brent Venables. I know he has enough love for that program that he'll do whatever it takes to figure it out. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that.
It's all about your quarterback.
Yep. Yep, 100%.
Quarterback. Hey, Josh Heupel got fired from Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield was on the team already, but he couldn't play because he had to sit out a year because he transferred from Texas Tech. The next year, Lincoln Riley comes in and he's got Baker Mayfield as his quarterback for 2 years. And then he's got Kyler Murray as his quarterback. You know what I mean? Then he's got Jalen Hurts as his quarterback. Mind you, now Heupel's gone now, right? This is the head coach of Tennessee. I mean, so it's about if you don't have somebody at the trigger spot that can manage the football game for your team, you're going to struggle, you know, or make plays. You're going to struggle. The guys that do have them are the guys that end up in the playoffs. Those are the playoff teams. So
those are facts.
Well,
yeah.
Well, golly, how do I put this? I think our talent around our quarterback put us in that game, put us in the playoffs. I love Ewers, but it was the more talent around him that got us there, I should say. And
he still had to manage it. He still had to manage it.
That's all he is a manager.
Like he did his freshman year, he couldn't throw it away. His freshman year, he was giving some of the, you know what I mean? He was. There were picks that, you know, that caused him.
But the other guys that you mentioned though were playmakers. I'm not looking at Ewers to be a. I'm not looking at Ewers to be a playmaker. I'm looking at him to be a manager.
Yeah,
you know what
me
I mean?
too. Yeah, me too. But that's part of it though. That's the same argument that Cam Newton has with game managers and guys that are, you know, game changers. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a difference. There really is. Yeah. You know, he's a game manager, and that's all you need to be. But those are good quarterbers too. And
a solid game manager with a good game plan. I think Shark's game plans are always pretty good. His especially in the first half when he gets go down his script. I think he's really good at that, and he has a game manager that can manage that script.
Yeah.
What's going to take us to the next level is we get a manager that can make some plays too. You know.
Yeah. That'll take a lot of people a lot of places if you get both of those.
Hey Stevie, before we end with laughter, some comedy, why don't you share with Rod and JB your thoughts on Ewers deep ball?
Oh man.
Yeah, so dude, man, it's for me, y'all. I mean, it's not. He doesn't have a deep ball, guys. I'm being honest, y'all. We had a guy running a 4.342 down the field, and we barely got it to him. Right,
man. He hit X on a beautiful ball 2 years ago, though. His freshman year, he hit X on a beautiful ball 2 years ago across the field.
Yeah, but what have you done for me lately, man? What have you done for me lately, right? And then when we go back and look at the Alabama game, right?
Yeah.
And he hit Worthy in the end zone for a long touchdown.
Yes.
That touchdown catch was a better catch than it was throw. How hard, and Rod, you can attest to this. How hard is it to catch a ball like this over the back of your head?
Very hard.
And when the corner of the end zone was open where you can go and catch it like this. Instead, he had to adjust and catch it like that. It was a terribly thrown ball, and no one talks about that, right? Because the long ball is just not there for him. And then Adonai Mitchell, he could have broke left and got an easier ball, but it's the way he throws the ball up there and hangs it up there. And we have to have extraordinary receivers to go get it. I love the kid.
Stevie, you talking about all catches, though.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Yes. Yes, we are talking about all catches, but we're talking about two catches. We're talking about two long balls down the field with a whole season. We had a 4.3, 4.2 runner that can blow the top off of defense, and he never did it.
Yeah.
The only time he did is when we needed to do it against Alabama.
That was one of the reasons. That was one of the reasons that X was talking about going into the portal in the first place. A lot of people didn't know. Quinn couldn't get him the deep ball, and he felt like, you know how it is, man. You messing up my draft status, basically.
Listen, I
need somebody to give me the rock.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about, Sean.
All season. You're entitled to your opinion all day, every day.
All season, man. I've been saying that. When I went to spring ball last year, man, I said that Malik had a bit better long ball than anybody on the staff in the quarterback room. That kid he stood tall and he stood big and he hit the long ball easily. Every one of those receivers was catching that ball in stride and heading straight to the end zone. Right. And I saw that in practice, but Quinn had to be the guy, I guess. He was already in the coach's playbook and things like that. And now we lost a really good quarterback. He was 6'5", big kid, standing tall in the pocket, So That's
but he got
just my little
smart
two
though,
cents.
man. When you got somebody whose last name is Manning, and he does what he does at such a young age. You saw him in the spring game. Looked like he'd been on the field for 3 years already. You know what I'm saying? Murphy just had to be smart to say, hey, man, I'm probably not going to get the PT. Haven't gotten the PT I wanted, and probably not going to get it now that Manning's here and they're hyping him up because, number one, it's going to be publicity stunt because the family, right? But so that's one reason why you're not going to play, because we got to keep these fans in the stands and keep them hollering Manning, Manning, Manning. And then Manning's going to get out there and show out. So he was smart for him to leave. He did stand tall, but also Murphy didn't. It was a lot of his accuracy wasn't what they wanted. His accuracy wasn't what they wanted. Long ball, yeah, he just slang it. But, time and routes, I think that was a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that, but I can also see time and routes getting better with time. A deep ball
take some work. Take consistency.
A deep ball is almost a talent that you can't teach. I think. I don't know, Coach. You might be different on that, but we hadn't taught yours yet.
No, I agree. There's certain quarterbacks can throw the deep ball better than others, and it doesn't always translate into a guy that can throw the intermediate pass as well either. So I mean, you can get one or the other, or you can get a combination of both. If you find a combination of both, you got a dude. But the deep ball is a nice, like you say, Stevie. I mean, Kyler Murray threw a great deep ball. That was his biggest asset, But he's also a scrambler. But throwing the ball down the field, man, he was on the money,
Now I'm sitting on a podcast feeding tips to the enemy over here. Like, he's gonna go to the defensive room and like, hey, y'all know yours cannot throw the deep ball. Don't guard them deep, just guard them underneath.
They won't listen to me. Man. They won't listen to me at all. I'm on the wrong side of the ball. I'm on the opposite side of the ball. So,
well, I've got a question. TikTok is can be an enormous amount of wasted time, but speaking of being on the wrong side of the ball, have you ever been on the other side of the microphone and in this week's TikTok in the man cave and heard a reporter do this?
It was a great feeling last game, but what was the question?
Hey, I've heard it before. Post-game Alamo Dome, somebody never claimed it. It interrupted everybody, but it was not captured. That's TikTok in the man.
No one claimed it. Was it you, Flinch?
Not me. I would have claimed it.
That's good stuff.
And look at Rod's face.
I don't know.
Hey, let's bring it home with some positivity.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
Fun episode, but you know what this world always needs? We need some inspiration, some positivity. We'll begin with the Rodrick Walker, pride of Irving, Texas, as well as Jay Boulware. But Rod, tell me something good, my brother.
Man, it is true that in our weight room at the University of Texas, on the wall, it's been there forever, it says, train like a champion. Train like a champion. And when you train like a champion, you develop a certain mentality with yourself and the people around you, because you know that the people around you are training like champions. But is that easy or hard? Heck no, it's not easy. It's hard work. And one thing that I've learned, that if it's hard, do it hard. If it's hard, do it hard. And it'll make life a little bit easier, make your performance a little bit easier. It'll make thinking or not having to think as much a little bit easier when you do what you have to do, study it, understand it, and that's a quick way to quiet the naysayers. Hard work really does pay off. And then just in life, not just in sports, whatever it is that you have to do in life, it's not going to be easy. People are going to doubt you. You might have some moments where you doubt yourself. Remove those doubts. Do something different what the opponent is doing. but hard work is going to always pay it off.
That's beautiful. Jay Boulware, I think it's between you, Rod, and Stevie, there's a different perspective that a man has as a father, and you see the world differently. But tell me something good, my brother.
Probably the one thing that I can share with you, I got it from another brother, another Longhorn brother at that. One of my summer roommates, running back, Juan Kemp, told me this. He said, we're at that age where we have to really think about, where we're spending our QTR. We really have to be thoughtful and intentional about that, so that not that you're about to die or anything like that. It's just that, you really maximize your life's experience the best way you can, spending it with people that really mean something to you. That's your quality time remaining. We only have so much of it. How much of it, none of us really know, but you only have so much of it. So spend it with the people that really mean something to you.
That's awesome.
Before you go, Stevie, I got to say this. Last year, 3 days after my mom passed, I remember Jay and I were on the phone. I was I remember I was walking like 15,000 steps a day just to keep it's good for you. He told me that, and Jay, for every day, I would say 90% of the days following that until now, that's come up. And I appreciate you for that. Really do.
Well,
tell me something good, Stevie.
My something good was going to be, man, my kids are getting out of school tomorrow and start the summer, man. But honestly, you guys, these two gentlemen on right now, they're my big brothers. I came in 2000, so I'm 10 years behind you guys. But the wisdom you guys just dropped right now will tell me something good. I love it. I'm going to go into this summer with my girls training for the volleyball with that mindset. Getting ready for your season, work hard, train like it's hard. If it's hard, train hard. I love that, man. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. That's something good for me, man. I got to talk to y'all, get inspired by y'all, and get motivated again by you guys, man. So I appreciate that. And I'm proud of both of you guys doing what you guys are doing, still in athletics, man. I love sports and entertainment. I sell real estate to a lot of sports and entertainment clients. So I love what y'all doing. I love the positivity that you guys come across with. So I'm going to be training my daughters this summer, but I'm going to take all that with me when I'm going to train them. So I appreciate that, fellas.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll end with this. So we've been either coached, mentored, or whatnot our whole lives, our entire lives. Create the life you want, or in some fashion, or think things into existence, because we know majority of the time we're going to fail. We just got to get back up. So this past year, I've envisioned what I wanted to do, envisioned what I'm going to do. Rod, you saw things are starting to fall into place. I just made a move, a positive move. And then a weekend ago, Rod saw somebody with me that all just randomly has appeared in my life. And it's just like, wow, it's this easy? That the ones, some of them before had a lot of drama.
Uh-huh.
I understand. So some prosperous times, because if we all think it into existence, so to speak.
Yes.
Oh my God, my brothers, this has been so much fun. I know I said it was going to be 30, 40 minutes. We're going on an hour and 20 minutes, but each of these moments have been amazing, inspiring, fun, whatnot. And Rod, I'm proud of you. JB, I'm proud of you as well, man. I wish you guys enjoy the summer before you guys get back to the grind, so to speak.
All right, brother.
Hey,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Clinch. I really appreciate it. Miss you guys, man, all the time.
I miss you both. I see Stevie every other week, or sometimes every week. This is good, though. So, for the Rodrick Walker and the Jay Boulware at the University of Kentucky, and to the Hargrove family, and to the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and the Coach Mo. What do we tell them, Stevie Lee?
We out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.
I said get out.